The Bears are who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. Bears.
Stafford down the middle is intercepted. DJ Moore.
Overthrows and intercepted for DJ Moore.
Will I see again?
Williams throws and is intercepted by DJ Moore.
Pushing up the hill, searching for the thrill of it.
Here's take the snap from his own end zone, winds up, throws into traffic, it is deflected, picked up by DJ Moore. Moore to 10, 5, end zone, touchdown, touchdown Bears. DJ Moore, pick six.
You are tuned in to the Chris and DJ Show with former Chicago Bears nickelback DJ Moore.
Bring it tight, bring it tight, bring it tight. Simple, man. It's about what you got in here. Bring a little heart with you tonight. Bring a little heart. This game's about will. What are you willing to do for the guy next to you? Bring that. Bring that. One, sweat, tears. Leave that on the field. Everything you got.
And that was the Bears play of the game. Of course, the pregame speech by Mitchell Trubisky getting his first start for the Bears since week 3, and the Bears fall to the Green Bay Packers 41-25. What's going on, everybody? I'm Chris Schanfeld. He's former Bear DJ Moore. And DJ, I think many expected it to be a tough game. Many did not expect the Bears to pull this one out. They did not. I don't think anyone really expected them to get embarrassed in the fashion that they did coming out of the bye.
Oh, shit. Like, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching it, and I'm trying to find, like, words to describe it. You know what I mean? The Nate Robinson thing was good. But that's what it felt like. It's like, damn, like, why are you not, like, prepared? And to me, it wasn't even Mitch. It's like he didn't look bad. He did some things every now and again, you know, just every quarterback does. But the defense looked so bad that it was just like, what? Like, it's hard to. It's you know what? That's what it is. It's like you ever went outside or you had a dog and you stepped in some shit, but you smell it, but you can't like. I mean, you don't know you stepped in this shit. You just walking around and like everything smells like shit. Like that's you, man. It's on your fucking shoe. Like that's what it was. Like you just smell it, and it's like, oh my God. It was the listen. I gotta give you credit. You talk bad about Shrine. Oh, listen, but it's not even his fault. It's like. Your best receiver, they're going to move him in the slot. It makes sense. So during the week, are we not matching up when it's man-to-man? Are we not going through, like, your attributes are this. This guy's a little bit quicker. You may be better with him. If Fuller's my best guy, then if it's man-to-man, then my best guy is going to be on your best guy. To me, it makes sense. Like, we didn't – like, on defense, there was no chance. The Hicks thing was – you seen in front of him again, it's like 8, 10, 12, 8, 10. With Aaron Rodgers play action, there's nothing that you can do. But again, it's like
as great as a player as Akeem Hicks is, I mean, he wasn't going to win this football game for the Bears. There was more issues than
Jenner got hurt, and it seemed like the offensive line got better. Like, what is that happening? Like it was. There was no fight. There was no nothing, man. Like even the first, and even like with Eddie Jackson, when you talked about last year, was like, hey man, he don't like to hit people. He catches the ball in the end zone. When he turns around, he's supposed to blast him. He just like moved out the way. I don't know how to explain some of this stuff. Like we didn't have fighting till the end because the quarterback took a forward knee. It was a weird forward knee. But it's like, well, and that's the problem at this particular. There's no fight for a coach that normally gets the fight out, like gets you to fight. There's none. There's none. Like Quinn, they got him dropping in coverage. Like what? It was a bag there. That was a lot.
Yeah, you're not paying Robert Quinn $70 million to drop in coverage, and and then he's even having a hard time tackling ball carriers, and it was an all around ugly performance. Again, 41-25, and again, DJ, it's one of those games where the scoreboard indicates that the game was closer than it actually was. I mean, they scored 15 points in basically garbage time of the fourth quarter, where this game was already out of reach. They were lucky to get 25 points on the board. And you know what? In the beginning, Mitchell Trubisky didn't look too bad. He threw for 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. In the beginning of the game, he didn't look too bad. But then there were some throws where he's throwing it in double coverage. He's throwing it in triple coverage. And you're seeing those same mistakes that you've seen that date back to year one of Mitchell Trubisky, where there's no progress, there's no growth there. And then you see him, he's having trouble holding on to the football. He's fumbling the ball. Yeah, he got his face mask yanked a couple times on that first fumble. But, I mean, you got to hold on to the football, man.
Well,
I mean,
on that one, they pushed Aaron Rodgers by the shoulder and you gave him 15 yards.
Right.
Like, that is one of those things where he's just trying to make a play and trying to extend it forward, and it's unfortunate. I think more than him, though, you see that the play calling is just so, like, you don't trust me to make my own read, so therefore, like the Mooney interception, there's one read. You know what I mean? Like, it's always like one read. You know what I mean? I got to throw, here it is. Like, I know where it's going or whatever. Now, I don't know if that's him or them. It seemed like they're calling it that way, though. My thing was, at the end of the game, they always do that. They're going to score points at the end. But if it was against a lesser team, or if our defense was playing good, which you would normally keep in about 17-20, you would be driving to win the game. But in this situation, they had offense, so therefore you wasn't close enough. I wouldn't expect them to hang not this many points on the defense. Well, without the fumble, 35? Like, I mean, it was easy. And to be honest with you, I mean, he looked comfortable, man. He looked confident. But again, Green Bay made adjustments. The person that they had that couldn't get sacks, Smith, they moved him to the inside. So now he's pushing our lineman back into Trubisky's lap. Like, they made adjustments. And it's just like, why are we not making that adjustment? Or at the end of the half, go down, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? You get it, you move it down the field, like you get some points or whatever. But it's like, then we go back to, okay, let's do the play action. Let's do, like, you see that he's comfortable with it. Or even in the game when we scoring, like, they're not trying to let us get the score. Like, he's making this happen because it's what he's comfortable with. It's like, you see that he's comfortable with it, but for some reason you don't continue to utilize it. It's like, I'm gonna go again. It just doesn't make any sense, man. It just doesn't.
No, it does not. After the team starts 5-1, here they are now 5-6. They've lost 5 in a row now. And Matt Nagy's meeting with the media right now. And here's a quote from Mark Grody from 670 The Score. Matt Nagy, we got to do some soul searching right now. We got to figure out where the hell we're at. Well, don't you think that the bye week was the perfect time for that? You don't come out of the bye on the road at Lambeau Field, Sunday Night Football, and drop this game in the fashion that the Bears did. And then following the game, it's time to soul search. I mean, it's a little too late for doing any soul searching right now.
No, I don't say too late because you're still in it. Again, you talked about it. There's an extra spot. There's other teams that lost a couple games. So you're in the mix. But again, I mean, if you're going to sort, like, you have to find it right now, because I think if you can win, it looks like if you can win 9 games, there's a chance that you should be able to get in. That sound about, I mean, you're going to have to now
It's going to be tough with the NFC West. I mean, all those, it looks like any one of those 4 teams could be.
Yeah, but again, you know what I mean, you're going to play against each other. So there's going to, because this is going to be the second half of the season. Some people are going to go up, some people are going to go down, some people are going to go sideways. So again, if you're going to search it, like it's every game from here on out, because you need to get to about 10 and say I'm comfortably, like you're saying, like if you can get 10, I think you can get in. But again, you're going to have to figure it out. Now, when I tweeted before the game, I think he's out either way. But when you lose like this, like on national TV, a rivalry game, you show no fight. It's just hard. And then other coaches are getting fired for less. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I mean, be honest with you, I don't know what else he could have said, though, really. Like, it's like, hey, man, like, it is what it is. We got to find a soul or something. And you hear Trubisky come out, man, the speech is legit. Like, it's in here. And to me, the funny thing is, it seemed like he was the only one with the fight. You know what I mean? Like, he's had the speech, and they were like, yeah, whatever. Like, nobody else wanted the fight. And whatever they wanted to do, I mean, they made the defense look like the ranking that the offense has. It was mine. Now I expect the defense, they'll get better. They'll soul search that one. They'll figure it out. But that was bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really tough day for Buster Screen, and whenever you seen Screen on Adams, you knew that there was a good chance that the ball was going in his direction. Danny Trevathan had a hard time when asked to cover Devontae Adams as well. He didn't have a great day out there. None of these guys on defense really did, though. I mean, Roquan Smith, he's having an all-pro year, and I don't even recall really hearing his name being called too much, except for Tony Dungy calling where he's at. Where is he? Where is he? Something that really caught my attention, though, DJ, was it was on that Jamal Williams touchdown run in the third quarter. Tony Dungy said that it looked like the Bears defense quit. It looked like they gave up on that play in which they gave up that touchdown run to the second string running back for the Packers. And, something like that, a statement like that really catches my attention, especially from a coach like Tony Dungy, who isn't going to, he's going to try his best not to be tough on a team or say harsh words. But, hearing him say that, I think it speaks volumes to, just how bad this performance was and where it got to late in the game.
Well, yeah, that, and you got to realize, too, when he's watching it, like, he understands how football works. And he understands that coming into it, you got a top-ranked offense and a top-ranked defense. And every time you've seen this defense, they always play hard, no matter what the offense is doing. And today, actually, I think if they would have played hard, I mean, I think the offense would have did enough because they would have had more chances. But again, you see it and you just like, man, like, I'm not used to seeing that. Like, I watch film. It's a Sunday night game. I gotta know I'm gonna come to practice. I'm gonna, talk to the coaches and the players or whatever. And like, I'm not used to seeing this. That's Nate Robinson right there. Like that. I mean, seriously, just like what? Like, when did you decide like not to care about this game? Because coming off a bye, it seemed like you may have not cared the whole week. Now could, like, players having COVID and then hits obviously out, change things considerably, but the effort, you can just, when it's just effort. And if you can't see it, you can't see it. It just ain't there. And that's gonna fall, like you said, that's gonna fall on the head coach at that time. And it's like, well, has he just completely lost the locker room? And that's really the question now. Because if you lost him, then ain't no need to even wait on it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're struggling the way that this team is and you lose 5 in a row, you come out of the bye and you look like this out of the bye against your number one rival. I
I mean, there's something there, no doubt about it, especially when, you're the offensive guru and your offense isn't producing. You give up your play calling and you're still struggling. And, now your team, now people are questioning the heart and the will of your football team. And I think this kind of goes back to the New Orleans Saints game with the whole Javon Wims situation. I was one of the guys that was saying, hey, you know what? Maybe Matt Nagy isn't a great offensive play caller, but he's a damn good coach. He gets his players to buy in, and he has a grasp on that locker room. Well, and then the Javon Wims situation goes down, and you find out that the wide receivers coach straight up tells his guys, hey, don't buy in to what Gardner Johnson is doing. He's trying to bait you guys into making a boneheaded decision. 10 minutes later, Javon Wims does what he did, and he gets suspended for a couple of weeks. He was a healthy scratch out there today. Riley Ridley getting some play still at wide receiver. And then you see the performance. Now you're seeing it carry over to the defensive side of the football with the play like that that we've seen with Jamal Williams scoring that touchdown. And as Tony Dungy said, I mean, from there, it kind of looked like they just gave up. I mean, this defense, maybe they're really starting to realize, hey, you know what, with this offense, with this personnel and this coaching staff, we don't have a chance. So now maybe you're starting to see them let up. I don't know. I mean, they're professionals. They still get the paychecks, but I think you're really starting to see a big problem brew now in the locker room.
Well, now I think, for defense, I think it gets frustrating because you're so used to stopping the run. And today, you just couldn't stop it. And it's just like, it's just gashing you. And then he does play action, and then there's people wide open. I have no pressure. So, but again, on defense, like going forward, you got to have, like you said, you got to soul search and figure out, like, what can we do? Do I need to move Khalil Mack inside and then bring more edge rushers in, because it's probably a little bit easier probably to bring edge rushers in than to bring in another defensive tackle, because they were just getting pushed out the way. Something that I feel like Khalil Mack, somebody else wouldn't. It just wouldn't happen. You would expect him to make more plays. So you got to adjust in that way, because I think if we could have stopped the run, then everything would have been more predictable. If it's 3rd and 4, you have to play man. They motion the running back out. Roquan Smith has to go out. It's man to man. You got Adams on the slot. It's tough. Like, he can go either way. It's a two-way go. You're going to get ate up. He's one of the best receivers in the league. Just this life. And it was real. I don't know what they had on the field, but it was slick for everybody. It was like slick. Like one of them little soccer fields. We went down to Wembley or whatever. So, like, I think going forward, you just got to just figure it out, though. And then really the biggest thing is just figuring out who's going to be the defensive tackle, who can, get penetration, or where it's just like, we're not giving up those runs. We seen that towards the end of the Vikings game once. Hicks, right? Knicks. Right. Yeah. Once he went out, we kind of seen that towards the end of the Viking game too. So the glaring issue is that middle of that defensive line, because if you can't get that, then pass rushes or anything like that is just going to be tough. So.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers, they were able to get the job done on the ground, through the air. I mean, they ran for a total of there are 2 running backs. They're 2-headed monster, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, a combined 163 yards, a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, only 8 incompletions. He threw for 211 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, anything they were doing, man. I mean, this Packers offense led by Aaron Rodgers, plays called by their head coach, Matt LaFleur. They definitely had the upper hand against this Chuck Pagano defense. And then, obviously the offense had no answer to the Green Bay Packers defense, whether it was interceptions thrown, forced fumbles, you name it. I mean, it was not a pretty game. And Tariq Cohen, an hour after kickoff, he tweets, "Thought if I didn't watch the game, we would play better. Fuck." Well, I mean, if that's just not a statement on how the season has gone, specifically since he went down, DJ, I mean, I don't know what is.
Montgomery did fine. Other than
he did.
first run, he had a really big run, which we got a rush over 100 yards, which is good. He had some plays out of the backfield. It's just today was just unfortunate for Mitch because you couldn't make a mistake. So it was just like, man, it's like they're taking long drives, touchdown. We took the drive, 3 points. Oh man, it was a good drive. And it's like nobody's helping. I throw it to the tight end. He should catch it. He should just go down. We'll get in the end zone. It don't happen. He throw it up to Robinson in the end zone. He don't come down with it. It's like, man, I need you to help me out. Now he take the shot. I'm happy that you took it. Just take it. There's a faster guy. He's fast. You think he gonna run up under it. Now the safety did that's one of them Ed Reed plays where he kind of looked he was going this way and then jumped back. So it was one of those like you couldn't make a mistake. You just knew it. You couldn't make a mistake. The fumble was unfortunate, but again, it just happened at an unfortunate time. But then again, you'll see like you'll make a drive from the 13-yard line, go all the way down. But again, what happened is somebody hold. First down, somebody hold. Well, first down, somebody hold. Somebody do something. It's like, damn, you can't do anything. Like I made a good play, got the first down. Like, hey, nah, Mitch, you good. Put shit on your shoe. Sorry, we gotta wipe it off and back it up. All right, let's try it again. Oh, now my left tackle get ran over. He holding. All right. And then something bad happened because it's like, man, you giving me so many chances. Like I'm doing the good, but then here's the bad. But then again, you playing against Aaron Rodgers. He 211 yards. Like we don't give him credit for it, but man, that was the running game and the offensive line. Like he didn't even have to be out there. Seeing like because you getting so many yards on the run, it's just like you got to go for every fake. It's people going left and right, and then on defense, people looking. He just kind of sprung. He don't even know what he just let this touchdown. So it was, and I think a lot of the blame gonna go to Mitch. But I mean, honestly, I think that was one of his more confident games. Now, if you can take away the fumble, and that the interception in the end zone, but I talked about let them play like Foles, man. I like it. Take the risk. Now, again, you just got to see it, but hey, man.
I think there was more there at least. You seen, all right, well, if he would have done this or if he would have done that, all right, cool. With Foles, it's like it was just a complete disaster, especially the last couple of games. So I do think that maybe they stick with Mitch Trubisky, at least give it another game. They got the Detroit Lions next week who made some changes yesterday. They fired their head coach, Matt Patricia, and their general manager, Bob Quinn. And then following today's loss, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they fired their general manager, Dave Caldwell. So now that has people wondering. We had a comment. He says, random feeling. This is Brian. Random feeling, but Nagy could be gone tomorrow morning or sometime this week. You got a lot of Bears fans, kind of calling for the job of Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. And I don't think they're going to last this season. Again, we still have, what are they, 5-6? So we still got 5 more games to go. But, the Bears, at least if you go by history, I mean, it couldn't have gotten much worse than the Mark Trestman era, and they let him finish out the season, both him and Phil Emery, the GM. I don't think they're going to make any in-season changes. That just doesn't seem to be what the Bears do, going over the years. But, and Matt Nagy actually, going through his press conference comments, he says he's not worried. He's not focused on his job security right now, but he says that it's all about fighting adversity, and they got to overcome this. And we'll see. But you're starting to see some dominoes fall in place where teams are already starting to make. What's that?
No, so they are falling.
Oh, right. So you're starting to see dominoes fall in place around the league where teams are now starting to look at their future and make some big changes. And maybe that the Chicago Bears will be one of these teams making some changes pretty soon.
Yeah, well, I think better franchises normally just let the coach finish it out. It just makes sense. I don't know if I fire you and then make another coach, unless we just had a war of words at some point. You know what I mean? Something happened like that. But again, let you finish out the season. To me, it just doesn't make any sense to do it in that fashion that a lot of other teams do it in. But again, when you have a game like this though, and everybody's watching you, there's a lot of pressure. But a lot of the candidates on other teams, I mean, you won't be able to interview until after. If they're candidates, they're probably in the playoffs, so you got to wait, or they have a bye or something like that. But again, I think you do have to start looking at it, and I'm assuming they're doing their research now, and kind of probably lining up people who they consider to be worthwhile candidates. So it's for sure going to be interesting. Now, again, if you let somebody last to the end of the season, I've been in a situation when I was at Carolina. I think we started off really bad and then went on a run. And Rivera, they was talking about Gettleman was interviewing people over like the bye week, and then all of a sudden he go like 12-4, and then it's like, hey, pay me my money. So again, if you don't want that situation, because if you start winning, you ain't gonna have the leverage to fire me then. So again, who knows, man? Because like you said, the dominoes are falling. But after a game like this, honestly though, in the National Football League, man, I couldn't blame you.
Matt Nagy was just asked about Tony Dungy suggesting that the Bears defense had given up at one point, and he says that's one thing I'll never agree with. Our guys quitting. I disagree with that. What did you see, DJ? I mean,
no. He was right. Not Nagy's not right, but
I mean, what else is he gonna say?
Yeah, Dungy's right. Now you're not gonna. Now when we get to Hallis Hall, we watch this film together. Like, you got to look at him face to face. I'm sure Chuck is like hot, because the one consistent thing has been the guy that's kicking, and then Chuck in the defense. So I'm sure he's very upset, can't sleep. I'm sure he's probably watching film now, trying to figure out like, hey man, you gonna have to, when he say soul search, they gonna believe, they gonna talk to each other. Eddie Jackson gonna be in the film, but hey man, you didn't why didn't you hit him in the end zone right there? You could have knocked the ball loose. What's happening? Or where are you at on this play? Or what are we doing? What are we missing? So again, you see it, like, you never had a question like that before. Question the Bears defense, like, hey, what's wrong with your defense? You ain't played hard? Like, you don't get questions like that. NFL get questions? Nah, like, you see that. And we all seen it. It's just like, hey man, like, whatever. Ain't no fans. You can hear yourself think, and you just getting your head slapped. Goodness.
Yeah, this win makes Aaron Rodgers 20-5 against the Chicago Bears in his career. After the game, he says, he simply put it, I love beating Chicago. And, whether it was him or Brett Favre, I mean, it seems like this franchise the last 25 years has had the Bears number. And, no matter what, man, no matter who he's throwing the football to, I mean, people have been saying for the last couple of years, you got to surround them with better weapons. And hey, no matter what, you got the one constant in Devontae Adams, and then it's everybody else, and they seem to contribute just fine. I mean, it's incredible what this franchise has had.
The thing that's happening is that, and they play before the game, they showed it. Like, well, you've had 33 quarterbacks, and we've had like 2 or 3. And again, if you have a franchise that probably had a head coach for a long time, they probably won a lot of games. You have to have consistency at the quarterback position. And that's why I don't blame him for moving up for Trubisky. If you thought he was a guy and he ain't, you know what? That's what it is. You could have drafted Mahomes, and guess what would have happened? He probably been bad, and then Trubisky would have went to Kansas City. He would have been a good one. Who knows how it would have worked out? Try it again. Shit, next year. I would draft a quarterback every year until I find whoever that guy is. And when you find them, you get to do the Green Bay thing. You get to have a Hall of Famer sit behind the Hall of Famer. You get to do the Steve Young and
Joe Montana
joint. You get to do that. You get to do the Brett Favre and Brunels and Hasselbacks and everybody come behind them. You just get to do that. You get to develop people behind other people because you have somebody in place. But again, I would draft a quarterback until I'm blue. Just keep doing it. Just keep, because you just don't know who it's going to be. Just keep doing it.
It's funny you say that because you go back to what Ryan Pace said in his introductory press conference years ago when he was hired to be general manager. He said he will be drafting a quarterback every year. He's drafted one quarterback since he's been here in Chicago, and that's Mitchell Trubisky. He right there, he's not going with his word, and he might just have to pay for it because once he traded up and drafted Trubisky, you knew that those two were going to be tied together, and they'll very likely be leaving Chicago together as well, along with Matt Nagy. I mean, again, the Bears start the season off hot. Many people were saying, oh, they're the worst 5-1 team in NFL history. Oh, they're the luckiest 5-1 team in NFL history. And they now the team has kind of proven them to be true. They've lost the last 5 now. You come out of the bye and you look as flat as they did today. I understand you're going in a different direction now, going back to Mitch Trubisky, but that was it was an embarrassing defeat tonight, DJ. Again, 41-25, similar to that Tennessee Titans game, man. This game was not as close as the score indicate that it was. You look at any bright spots, David Montgomery, he ripped off that 57-yard run, which is the longest run for the Bears this season. It was actually the longest run since the Barkevius Mingo 11-yard run against Tennessee a few weeks back. He had a 100-yard game, his first 100-yard game of the season, only on 11 carries. So, you drop the ball and you get behind early, and the Green Bay Packers, they're going on these long drives and they're ending them in touchdowns. And, you're playing, catch up ball, and you don't have the opportunity to run the ball as much as you may have wanted to. Again, only 11 attempts with David Montgomery. He had 103 yards. Allen Robinson, 8 receptions, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was nice to see A-Rob get some more targets today, specifically in the red zone. He could have had another touchdown, but he ended up dropping it. The play before that was, of course, the target to Cole Kmet, who almost fumbled it but didn't have possession, and they had to settle for the field goal on the opening drive there. So, you try and look at some of the bright spots, but there's no doubt about it that the bad moments in this game, the ugly moments in this game, outweigh those by a ton. Looking on the defensive side of the football, DJ, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, Roquan Smith, you didn't really see too much out of him. This was probably, and you look at the defense as a whole. I mean, it was probably the worst performance of the season by the defense. And, is it much of a surprise? You're playing arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, or at least the second best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think there's a doubt that Patrick Mahomes is number one, but what they were able to do, and you said it earlier, I mean, being able to run the ball the way that the Packers were able to. Yes, the Bears are down without Akeem Hicks, and you knew that they were going to be shoving it down the Bears' throat, and that's exactly what they did. Their two-headed monster, 163 yards and a touchdown, and then Aaron Rodgers just had to kind of it was almost like he had to play game manager, and he found the receivers, made plays when he needed to, but for the most part, it was the running attack that did the job for the Packers.
Yeah, and I think the big issue is just going for, even with the defense, is that, and it's weird to say this, like, we have, this sounds stupid, let me say it anyway, like, we have too many, like, defensive stars. Does that sound right? Yeah. We're in an offensive league, so all of our star power is on defense. So how do we get that to offense? We're going to have to let some of them defensive cats go to get more offense back in or something. Like, if I have a Khalil Mack, like, no, I need somebody who protects the quarterback, because to me it seems easier to find somebody who can rush the passer or to play a together scheme where I can hold you to a certain amount of points, because defense are historically bad this year, because guess what? Everything is geared towards the offense. Like, well, you're going to win a Super Bowl 8-0. Now, even though, like, I think with Kansas City last year, everybody struggled. But again, Like being able to score on a moment's notice is more important to me, more important than getting the sack. Now I know you want pressure, and I think Quinn had a nice rush at the beginning of the game where he got a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. But again, we got 2 high-paid ends. We got a high-paid safety. We got a linebacker as a first-round pick. Like we have like some players stacked up. But again, like where's their firepower that's supposed to be on the offensive side? Like now you have Robinson, yes, but well, who's the other person? Or where's the other things at? Aaron Rodgers did not get touched. That's nuts. And he brought in a backup. The backup center came in. So why don't our backup look the same as that? Like what's the difference there? So again, we got to figure out how can you get high powered on offense. Nagy, you want to call plays, but you have to make sure that I'm stacked on offense. Yes, Mooney can run, but is he a proven receiver to where I'm fearful of you and I need you to be able to get, open. We seen Tyreek Hill today. Listen, if you go at them one-on-one, and Mooney can run, man. They have the play set up and schemed to where, like, you're going to have a problem. We're looking at your defense. If he's on him, that's a problem. And then Aaron Rodgers like, well, he's on him. They go screen. Here you go. Figure it out, but I think we just need more. We just need more firepower, man. And you gotta go pay for it some kind of way. And if you ain't got no money, guess what? Sorry, defense. We got to give up a couple points to get more points. Essentially, is what I'm saying. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think what's the most disappointing thing about this performance tonight, DJ, was that they come off a bye. I don't know, for players, I know it's a really big thing for the fan base. I don't know about, the players, how big of a rivalry this is. Right. I figured it's another game, but anyways, so leaving that part out of it, you're coming off a bye though, and you still have something to play for. I mean, even now with this loss, you're still in it, as you mentioned, DJ, but you're coming off the bye week. All right, let's get back into things. You're 500. You're 5-5. We win this game. The Bears got a lot of help earlier this afternoon with the Rams going down. You had another end. The Arizona Cardinals taking a loss. So they got a lot of help across the league. All they had to do is do their job and find a way to win this game, and they weren't able to do it. And they didn't play inspiring football. When you still have something to play for, this season could still turn into something, and you come out of the bye and you look as flat as they did. As Coach Dungy was saying, at one point it looks like the team even gave up. So that was really disappointing, and that's something that this coaching staff is going to have to go over with the team. They're going to have to reach in their back pocket and pull something out, because obviously what they've been doing the last 6 weeks, it's not been cutting.
Yeah, well, and it could be good, honestly. When you get knocked on your head a couple times, you can get back up, because you have everything will be a little more strict. Everything will be, a full pass on Wednesday, maybe full pass on Thursday. Like, you'll get a little more sure, like, hey, man, like, come on. You would think that would have been a sense of urgency, this week. But again, you got to give Green Bay credit, because they was coming out here on national TV, and they had their woes kind of last year, and Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur and all of that stuff, and they're figuring. They're figuring out all their stuff too. So again, I think you just honestly just probably ran into a better team. Now I don't expect it to be like this, but again, you'll get into the film room. Probably, what is that? You probably in there tomorrow sometime. You got to meet to kind of figure that out. But again, every individual has to kind of look at themselves and say, hey, man, look, let me do this much better. And I'm sure I would be shocked if the defense, I don't even care if they played Mahomes. I would be shocked if they would have another defense performance like that this year. I would be shocked. So I think they're going to get it. It's just, again, it's going to be the drama of who's going to start at offense. Okay, which quarterback is it going to be? Who's going to call the plays? He said it was temporary. Am I going to get it back? Should I get it back? If I'm going to go out on my shield, I might as well go out calling plays. Is Nick Foles hurt? Is it a minor injury? He didn't dress out. So what is the problem? Somebody let me know. Is he up there with Dr. Fauci giving out COVID-19 advice? I don't know. Tell me what he's doing, because I need to know. It's just blowing my mind. It wasn't a big injury, then it is, and then I don't see him. He disappearing like Rokon did last year. I don't know what's going on. Help me out. So again, it could be good. So hopefully they just get back, talk to each other, and you got to put your big boy pants on now and make it happen.
Next week, the Bears play the Detroit Lions, another NFC North Division battle. And, it'll be the first time we see the Detroit Lions without Matt Patricia. They'll have their offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevell, as the interim head coach there. If Nick Foles is healthy, DJ, I mean, do you stick with Mitchell Trubisky? Did he show enough tonight? Was there enough maybe creativity? I don't know. This was the first time that we've seen Mitch Trubisky work with in this Bears offense with Bill Lazor calling the plays. Are you rolling that back out next week?
I would. I think the first game, he already beat him. I think I don't know what his record is against Detroit, but I'm sure it's pretty good. I'll leave him out there. I think you have Foles as a backup. Foles always worked better when he come off the bench anyway. Do not start Nick Foles. Just bring him off the bench either way. Just do that. So I think I would start him. I mean, this is a game that you should win. Head coach is gone. Matthew Stafford is trash. Gonna always be trash. For some reason, they're gonna always pay him. He just ain't good. But again, he can throw hard and far. So yeah, whatever. So they don't have the weapons to stretches like Green Bay could have. And I don't think they don't have that running game as well. So I think this one will be fine. So, because honestly, if you can score 25, you probably can win by about 10 points, to be honest with you. So I think I would stick with Trubisky, honestly. Because early in the game, the bootlegs and everything, it was good, man. It was working really well. And then we did the boot and was like, you know what? Let me double chunk this thing. But again, Savage is a really good safety. You know what I mean? So I'm with Mitch. I'm a roll. I'm just gonna roll with it, man. You know what? He drafted him. Let's see, man. Let's roll with it. Give him a chance.
Yeah, there was one point that the camera crew actually, they put the camera on Ryan Pace in the booth, and you could see, his, he was really upset, shaking his head at the terrible performance today by his quarterback, by his football team.
Oh, man.
And, they actually flew Virginia McCaskey. They actually flew her out to Green Bay to witness this one as well. And this Bears rivalry with the Packers, or lack thereof, you got to start winning some football games in order for this to actually be a rivalry. But, this one dates back. It's the oldest rivalry in the NFL. And, it's these losses that we've seen at least back in the Mark Trestman era. It was the losses to the Packers that really got to the upper management, to the owners, and that's what ultimately had them pull the plug after the bye week. They allow a 50 burger to the Green Bay Packers, and that's kind of what did it. So I'm sure the owner,
he might be gone, man.
I don't know about in season though. I fully expect. I will be shocked if they somehow turn things around and he's back, and they show enough where Nagy and this coaching staff is back.
The one caveat I would say that, because I would think you wouldn't do it in season, but I put a camera on you and you showing visible frustrations, but you have to show that you're in control of it. So, because if I wait to the end of the season, it's almost like, you know what? We was a package deal. I let him finish. We're done. But if I send him off, then it looks like, you know what? Hey, man, I'm looking for the new guy. I got Chuck Pagano, who probably be the interim head coach, I'm assuming, and Lazor will still call the plays. So you got somebody who, I'm going to tell you what, man. because Pace, again, there's been that dynamic of like I gotta separate from somebody. But again, to me, Pace and Mitch are kind of on the same page because he drafted him. And once you get that together, it's like, hey, now Pace is the guy, hey, man, no, we're going to just roll with Trubisky the rest of the way, and then we're going to figure out head coach and kind of figure out how we're going to do it. So, again, if I'm Pace, you know what? I may have to roll the dice on this one.
I mean, you don't have much to lose at this point. I mean, as much as you're tied with Mitchell Trubisky, that's going to be, the one that you go down with. But Matt Nagy is there as well. A lot of people, there's reports that when Ryan Pace was hired, that they kind of forced him to hire John Fox. They want to get an experienced head coach to be able to get this thing back on track. But then when Fox was fired and Nagy was his guy, that was a true Ryan Pace hire. And, year one, fantastic. But these last couple of seasons now, not so good. 8-8 last year. And after 5-1 this year, they now drop 5 in a row. They're 5-6 now, a losing record. When asked if Mitch Trubisky feels like he's done enough to retain the starting job for another week, I don't know. That's not my call. So, I mean, an upset Mitch Trubisky. I mean, an upset football team. Khalil Mack. Obviously, you don't allow that run. Those big running plays on first and second down. We're pissed off. We got to throw that one in the trash, is what Khalil Mack said. Well, yeah, you could throw it in the trash, but don't forget about it. Don't forget about it. You still got to play this team week 17, final week of the season. They come to Chicago. Don't forget about this. Don't
in the trash, cuz. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I forgot who we played that beat us real bad. It might have been New England or something. We didn't even watch the film close. The game don't even exist, man. Throw it in the trash. It's gone. Ain't even no need. We gonna move on from that. Ain't no need even. We ain't even gonna get nothing good out of that. We got beat up so bad. Yeah, just throw it in the trash. Move on, because it's not who you are. So don't even. You know what? It ain't gonna happen again. Don't even worry about it.
Well, the scary thing is, I think this might be who the Chicago Bears are this season. So we might see it again, week 17, DJ. Ugly performance. Bears dropped this one 41-25 again. Not as close as the scoreboard might indicate, but it was an ugly performance for the Chicago Bears from start to finish. And there's a lot of questions now surrounding the job security. A lot more questions surrounding the job security of one Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace of the Chicago Bears. If the seat wasn't hot before this week, DJ, it's certainly heating up right now. Any final words before we end the show, DJ?
No, it's 12:30. I got to get up early and teach some kids in the morning.
All right. Well, for former Chicago Bear DJ Moore, I'm Chris Shanafelt. Be sure to give him a follow on Twitter at DJ Moore30. I'm at Chris Shanafelt. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. If you missed this show or past episodes, you can always check them out on iTunes, Periscope, Spotify, anywhere you can check out podcasts. And then, of course, we live stream on Facebook Live and Twitter. So be sure to check us out. Just search Chris and DJ Show. We'll be there. We'll pop up. One of the first searches to pop up. So again, for DJ Moore, I'm Chris Shanafelt. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. It was an ugly loss. Bears drop 5 in a row. They lose to the Green Bay Packers Sunday night football. The nation watched it all, 41-25. And they got the Detroit Lions next week. So we'll be here this week breaking that one down, previewing it and breaking the game down following the game. Once again, he's DJ Moore. I'm Chris Shanafelt. Appreciate everybody for tuning in.